What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Groomer podcast. I'm your host, Alex Martin, and today I am joined by another husband and wife duo. You guys won't believe some of the stories that they have to tell us. They're up in Michigan. For any other groomers in our community that are up there, maybe you guys know them, maybe you guys don't, but I'm super excited to have them here on our podcast today to talk specifically about how they took over a salon and built it up to where it's at today. Let me introduce Doug and Lisa Meyers. Doug and Lisa, thank you guys so much for joining our episode.
Thanks for having us.
Cool. So I just want to start. I mean, a lot of people, if you're watching on YouTube, you guys can see them. But if you're not and you're just behind the audio here, I've got a husband and wife in their house right now. Doug and Lisa are married and they run a business together. I'm sure blending the personal and business life can get a little bit hairy. But before we go down that road, I mean, how the heck did you guys even meet and get into this together?
So we met about 15 years ago. I was a builder, a commercial contractor, and I was in charge of building a Petco store in Chesterfield, Michigan. And Lisa got hired in as their first general manager, and that's how we met. And I don't know, a year or two later, we're married, and she went from doing the Petco store into a private practice where I was a vet and boarding and grooming center where she was the main groomer. We got married. I kept doing my construction career, and then eventually we
13 years
yeah
later.
13 years later we came across an opportunity to purchase an actively running salon that made sense for us. It was right in our neighborhood, and it was like a perfect transition. And then Lisa ran the business while I kept with my construction career for a couple of years until I figured that it just made sense to be at the store, just to grow it, to make it bigger, to just help with the the smoothness of it. And I thought it'd be a little less stressful than the contracting business, which has turned out to be quite true. It's easier to sleep at night knowing you got a fresh set of dogs tomorrow without having to think about the different trades that are going to be upset tomorrow about odds and ends. And that's
Sure.
how and that's what brought us to where we are now.
So, and that was a super high level overview, Doug, which is great. But I mean, I want to get down and dirty, man. I want to learn a little bit more about. So, you are from construction, and Lisa is from the grooming world.
Yep.
From you said you inspired to be a vet tech right off the bat. But
Mhm.
you were doing that. I mean, Doug, how did you were building out Lisa's grooming salon? I mean, how did you guys actually cross paths?
Well, that was it. I was finishing the Petco store, and as I'm wrapping up the construction, the Petco staff merchandises it. They bring in their own shelves, and their own crew comes in for several weeks to set the store up, and that's when Lisa got involved with the store and was doing hiring events on the front porch of the store.
Yeah, it went from one Petco to from the Sterling Heights Petco to the Chesterfield Petco,
Which was brand new.
So we went from Sterling Heights Petco to the Chesterfield Petco,
Got it.
and then we went from one to the other, and then
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And tell me, Lisa, what does and maybe, outside of the construction side of things, from, the grooming management side of things, what does spinning up a new, salon, even in a corporate environment, look like? So when you had to come over to that new Petco, let's assume it's all built out, what are some of the things you guys would do?
Oh, geez. Well, in there you have to set everything up. Everything's corporate.
Yeah.
So you have to do it their way.
Got it.
So it's a lot different than how you do it in your own way. I mean, you have to purchase everything from them instead of having your own vendors and everybody to purchase from.
That makes sense. So when you guys set up your own salon, or when you guys took over your own salon, what were some of the things that you guys did differently when you started? I guess it was actively running, but I'm sure you guys came in and did some of your own things to to make the process better. What are some of the differences there?
The shampoos, we changed the shampoos and got different shampoos.
Yeah, we went to
What
like a
else did
bather box system, like a diluted system that was nice. We did a lot of remodeling, just things weren't efficient. They weren't, the way it was laid out and some of the different, I don't know, features of the
Right.
space weren't good. Like they were drying dogs where they were washing them and it was loud and we, separated the washing and drying areas and
There was no washer or dryer. They didn't have any towels. They had no towels when we came there.
So how are they drying the dogs?
They were just taking them
Air
right
drying?
from the tub, soaking wet, and putting them on a table and drying them.
without
What?
Toweling them first. And
Yeah, within a couple days, I was buying a washer and dryer and getting them hooked up. And
Sure.
how you could
Okay.
not have a washer and dryer? I couldn't.
I mean,
believe
that
it.
is crazy. Okay. So even
yeah,
before
first
some
I
of
didn't
that
notice
stuff,
it. Yeah. at
yeah,
first I
before,
didn't notice it.
okay, that makes sense. I mean, that is wild to me. So before some of that stuff, I mean, the first question I'm wondering, especially with what you said in the beginning, Doug, that like this opportunity kind of just like presented itself. Um, how did you guys know it was like good, right? Like I feel like every day, people that take over business salon or grooming salons, or even start their own businesses, they, it seems like to the outsider, they just do it, right? But when this opportunity presented itself, I mean, what did you guys look at to determine this is worth buying and this is worth leaving your career for, Lisa?
Right. Sure. Like, so it's also a boutique. So the front, third has, just some merchandise and outfits and collars and leashes and things, but that hasn't been our focus. But that was nice. It was a nice, storefront up front. All the equipment was good. The tubs and the dryers and the tables were all like pretty nice stuff. I'm like, if you were to start from scratch and start your own store, the investment there, I'm looking at how much we would have to put into it, and they were aligned pretty closely, and then the girls that worked there had no intention of leaving. So I already had a staff that already had scheduled dogs. We walked in with the schedule book half full, and then Lisa's where she was working was only, I don't know, 7 or 8, a few miles away. So most of her customers, when she left, they said, "Where are you going? We're following you." So I mean, she had full schedule before we even, the first day we were there, it was booked. Like
So it was no brainer.
Yeah, it was
Right.
no brainer to do it.
Right. And Lisa, I mean, what were some of your constraints leaving? So you were a vet tech before, or sorry, you were a groomer at a vet's office before leaving to come do this with Doug. What were some
Yeah.
of the constraints that, I mean, obviously you worked there for a while. And so it wasn't, even though it seems on paper like it was a no-brainer, I'm sure there was a little bit of constraint there. Walk me through what you were thinking when this opportunity presented itself. Maybe Doug's coming home at night. He's excited to get going. And you're like, hold it. Let's hold the horses there. Here's what I'm nervous about.
It was hard. It was hard leaving my other job because I was there for so long, but it was time to leave.
It was time. Okay. And how did you know it was time?
I just did.
Yeah.
I just did. It was,
Okay.
you just know. You
Ready
know,
for a
you
change.
know. Yes, I was ready for a change.
And we
Okay.
were, friends with the owner of that business, and he was a great guy. And I kind of like, felt super guilty because I knew half of her customers are gonna figure out where she's grooming and follow us. So like, there's a little bit of, you know, uneasy feelings there, but it is what it is. He has a great business. He would, he got over it right away. I'm sure he went back on track with the new groomer and got his grooming set up. But that was a small fraction of what he was into. He was more the vet and the boarding, and they had stalls for 100 dogs there for
Oh,
boarding.
wow.
So it was a big to do, and he owned several vet companies around the area. So I'm sure he understood as a businessman that like, oh, they're doing their own thing. I get it.
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense. Okay. So
Yeah.
you guys identified this opportunity. you guys, or I mean, it really just fell in your lap, but there was, I mean, still, you guys looked through it and you pointed out some things that you liked right off the bat. I mean, the schedule was full, the groomers were staying, the equipment was up to par. Was there anything you didn't like that when you guys were starting, and you guys were looking at it, you're like, ooh, if we could redo it, we would have done, you know, this differently. This was a bigger red flag than we thought it was going to be, or was everything pretty?
Are you saying like after we already had it?
No, when
Yeah.
you guys were looking at the
Yeah.
opportunity, you know, if you guys built out a pros and cons thing, what were some of the cons?
I don't think there was a lot. It was a newer building. The space we're in is a strip center, but it was built within last 15 years, so it was relatively new, and just had a lot of ability for like expansion, not really expansion, but remodel. And there's room in the electrical panel to add circuits. I'm like, this, I knew electrical had to be gone through, and we needed more dryers, and I knew there'd be circuits, and I knew there were, there's just little things like that added up to just being, it didn't look like there was gonna be a lot of maintenance costs or added like money to get things rolling. A few easy, like features in the building that we changed to make it a little more ergonomical for everybody and add some
Okay.
more space for tables. And they were all simple things that I can handle, with my background that I knew wouldn't cost
Okay.
much.
No, for sure. And before I would love to go through the list of some of the first things you guys did, but before we get there, I'm sure a lot of people in our audience are asking, okay, great. Like these guys saw a good business, but maybe they're thinking I'm not in the position to afford that or to go through that. I don't even know how to like get financing or anything like that. Can you
Sure.
walk me through high level what you guys did to actually pull the trigger here? Was it, did you guys get a loan from a bank? Did you go through the Small Business Administration? Did you guys self-finance it? Did you owner finance it? I know a lot of this stuff might seem, super out there to people, but I like to dive in just to some of the details here, just to show people that, hey, there is a way to do this, and it's different for everybody, but it's really interesting to hear, how you guys might have done it, and maybe that can help.
Well, I mean, I think if we were to start from scratch, from like, let's rent an empty space and build it out. One thing is the time that it takes to do that you can't earn a living or you can't make money. Like, you got several months of like cutting floors open and adding plumbing and, doing what it takes to get the space up. It can take a long time, be expensive. But with this opportunity where I was already there was like no downtime. So that was a big thing. It's like, all right, we can go from like you at your, her, we can do the transition very easily. That I
Right.
think that was what made it, a simple thing for me. We just owner finance, it was, and I don't know what it should have cost, but I think we got like a screaming deal on just taking over, I mean,
Right. And for everyone that's out there, owner financing is essentially where Doug and Lisa, the owner still owned the business and they paid off a portion every single month for a foreseeable, term length.
okay, well, maybe I might have misunderstood you by that. We just
Okay, you
dipped
guys
in our
financed it.
savings. We dipped
Yeah.
in our savings and
Yep.
purchased it. $50,000.
Okay. So $50,000 is what bought you guys a salon.
We bought us the salon, and
Amazing.
I'm looking at the books, and I'm like, we can do, we'll do that much business. I mean, possibly a month, but eventually. But I mean, like this was not going to take very long to cover these costs. Like there's
100%.
it was simple decision there.
Simple math. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean, $50,000, you're right, does seem like a screaming deal, especially for a facility that's already up to par. Now what I'd love to do is once you guys got in there, let's say you get in there day one. Obviously business is still going. You guys had a full book of scheduling. What are some of the first things you guys did? I know you guys said you went and bought like a washer and dryer and started actually drying dogs with towels, some of the simple things like that. What else was added to that list of, hey, these were things right off the bat that we came in and changed and did differently?
Right. So the previous owner ran the shop, but wasn't a groomer. She didn't groom. Her business was like nail salons, and she got into this dog grooming and set up the store nicely, but it wasn't set up like it needed a groomer's touch. So there was like just different features in the building, like a little half wall they had to kind of isolate dogs. That I could have added 3 more tables there. So we took this wall out, and I don't know what the space was used for before they opened the salon, but some of the features were still there, and it just didn't make sense for a groom salon.
There was like that bar area.
There was like just some different things that were just wasting space. I'm like, let's get rid of all this stuff.
Okay.
And then we got a little bit away from the boutique. We just kind of keep leashes and some shampoos and some small things, but that's been by the wayside. Which
There's a lot
Okay.
of clothes and stuff still there, but we don't really do much with it. It just
Yeah.
kind of hangs there.
Right.
And it's like, I mean, nobody goes in there to buy clothes.
No,
stuff.
no.
So,
Okay.
not really.
Right.
And people will ask, do you have any new winter coats and stuff? And it's like, no, I'm sorry, we don't. And it's like, I don't really want to get new stuff because
Right.
I get one and it's like, I'll get a couple and then I'm stuck with 3,
Yeah.
Um,
No, I mean, that makes sense. So to sum, kind of some of those changes up, you guys optimized the floor space to add more tables so you can make more money.
Yeah.
You guys focused more on grooming rather than the boutique, selling clothes side of things. I like that, focusing on your main service offering. And
Yeah.
then you guys added some new appliances that would, make the process more efficient. You're not cutting hair
Sure,
on wet dogs, and
We
you
had-
got a place now to wash your towels.
Yeah, they had terrible hand dryers there. Just
Okay.
old and junky. I'm like, all right, half the thing of getting a dog out your door is to get it dry fast. You need to get those
Yeah.
dogs dry. And so I went out and bought, I don't know, 6 or 8 of the best dryers, hung them on the wall, and made built-in stands at different heights for drying them. If you had a small dog, big dog, little dog, if you were tall, if you were short, I have all different levels to make it
Stations.
easier for just to accommodate the dog and the person that's drying them, just to make that easier.
Got it. Talk to me. Did you guys do anything with the pricing or the way the scheduling was? When you guys came in, you said that the previous owner was not a groomer. And so I can imagine some basic things that she probably, maybe she didn't, but I can imagine some things that she probably
Yes.
got wrong. And the 2 things that come to my head initially are how she set prices and maybe how she scheduled out the dogs. Talk to me
Yeah.
about, let's dive into one at a time. Talk to me about pricing first.
Pricing. Yeah.
Pricing, yes. Pricing had to be changed because they were going by a weight of a dog. And when I first went in there, I'm like, what do you mean by weight of a dog? It's like over the whole 30 years of me grooming, it's like I've never done that by a weight of a dog. And it's like, I'm like, no, we're not. We just changed it by normal pricing of what I knew what it was. So we went by a normal standard pricing.
And talk to me, let's just dive into, a little bit deeper there. What is normal standard pricing for you guys today? I mean, you are well tenured with, you've been in corporate, you've been in a veterinary office, you've seen it all, and now you own your own. What does your guys' pricing look like today? I mean, what is standard pricing to Lisa Meyers?
Well, we just increased our price as of January 1st from last year. So our
Okay.
prices are, the small dogs are 60. And the doodles and I mean,
Large
large
breeds.
breed dogs are, what do you want to say?
We went up $10 on
We
our
went up-
large dogs
yeah,
and
we
5 on
went
our
up-
small
5 on our small.
Okay.
this time. But when we started, they were $44 was like their small dog groom price, and that changed to 50, shortly thereafter. Because we had
Okay.
hired a couple other groomers that came in, they're like, oh no, this is wrong. You guys are too low. So we
Okay.
bumped it up, and then we went to 55, and now we're at 60, which might even be too low, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm on a few of the Facebook groom pages and read everybody's comments on pricing, and people get upset if you're too low. So they really
Yeah.
want push it up, which I get, but I feel like we do pretty fair with ours.
Okay. So do you guys break it out by 3 categories? The small breed, kind of the medium, the mid-sized breed, and then the large breed?
Yes, pretty much.
Okay. And you
Yeah.
guys said the floor for that small breed is around 60.
Around 60.
Okay.
Yep. And it really all depends. It all depends really on, the dog's hair and how they act. And, I
Yeah.
mean,
Every
that's
dog's different.
right.
Yeah.
And
It's arbitrary. Like the pricing to me is
Yeah.
super arbitrary.
Right.
It's
Oh,
so many like
100%.
factors.
you're right.
And
And
so,
it's so
tell me, I
hard.
mean, when they walk in, let's assume you guys get a new client. What what are you guys, or what do you train your groomers to look for to accurately price a dog? A new client.
The new clients, they'll always ask me
Well,
what
I mean, it's the temperament, the hair
Yeah.
type, that kind of goes into it. But we just kind of keep it pretty level. Like we
Okay.
don't allow a lot of fluctuation in our Shih Tzus and Malteses and those breeds, Yorkies are all
multi-poos and all that
yeah.
are usually always 60.
Okay.
But I mean, if you get one that's,
Crazy.
crazy and bad, I mean, then you might add that
Yeah.
$5 handling fee. But I don't have, you know,
We train them how to be groomed right. Like we
Yeah.
teach the
Okay.
dog
That
what
makes
to do.
sense. Yeah. You guys are watching over them. So that leads me into my next question here that even parlays a little bit into scheduling. When you guys took it over, where was the current client base on a recurring schedule? Was that something you guys changed? Are you guys doing that now? Talk to me about like the differences between how they used to schedule and how you guys schedule now.
Right. So it was, and it's basically the same way. We haven't changed much in the scheduling. We have the same software. We use the DaySmart software, which is what they use, and I have had nothing but really pretty good experiences with them, and I don't want to change from that. But we also keep a handwritten book. Like we do digital and handwritten, and we double. It's a double duty, but to me, it's like part of one of those things that you just kind of have to have a handwritten Bible to follow, but it's also got to be entered in the computer so that they get their reminders and such. But there's something about like the old school handwritten book that I feel like almost is essential to the business. The way it changes and the way we bring it home and field calls from our home when
Sure.
after hours, that we just need that book.
Sure.
But we don't
Absolutely.
really do we have several customers that rebook every time, and we probably don't do a good enough job asking like if they want to rebook their next visit right now, because I mean, I just kind of know they're going to be back. They'll call me when they're ready. But
Yeah.
I mean, it is smart just to ask that question. You want to get your next
No,
one,
100%.
keep the books full. So I'm not good enough on that, which maybe that's a New Year's resolution to have that reoccurring. Let's just make sense.
Yeah.
Your books are full for your next 8 weeks.
Okay. Now talk to me, kind of this third part of the stool here. The employees. I mean, you guys said you had groomers stay from the previous ownership to where you guys are at when you guys took it over. Did you guys change the commission structure, the incentive structure, the, paid time off,
No.
anything like that? Or did you keep it all the same?
Keep it the same, and then and advertise to them, hey, if our prices go up, your commission goes up. Like it's all
like a
relative.
raise.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of the encouragement. And for the last few months, I've been telling them New Year's Day we're raising, and it'll make a difference for them.
Yeah. No,
But
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And how do you guys set commission now? Is it based on how long you've been there? Is it based on your skill level? Is it flat across the board?
Flat
across the board.
50% is what we
50%.
Yeah,
That's amazing. That's very generous.
Yeah,
That
I think
is
it's good.
awesome.
I see a lot of people like online saying that's too much, and 38% or 40% is all, but I don't know. I feel like
50%
we
is
still,
normal.
there's still enough on our, it still makes it worth our while.
Sure.
I think it's a good medium. I think 50% is a good, I don't know.
That's what it's always been for me. I want to say growing up, but 50% is what it's always been since I started.
Yeah.
I imagine that's relative to like where you are, if you have a salon in downtown LA, compared to, just somewhere in Michigan, like, I
Yeah,
mean, I'm sure that, the geographics has a lot to do with that too, and what you
for
can
sure.
charge and what is fair to give your employees. So I don't know. I think it's good.
Absolutely.
I start them right off the bat at the same, and if they can only do 2 or 3 dogs or 4 dogs, and that's where they're at, then that's fine. And as they get faster and you know more involved with us, and that I think it works out.
Absolutely. To wrap up here, when you guys bought the salon, you bought it for $50,000. And you said, Doug, that when you set out, you're like, okay, I think we can eventually do that a month. I want to bring things full circle for everybody because I know it's scary jumping off that ledge and putting in your own savings to a storefront that's yours. But you guys have been at it for 5 years. And so I want people to be able to zoom out and see how things come, full picture here,
Yeah.
what the initial investment is and how you guys are doing now. So tell me, I mean, how far have you guys gotten 5 years now? Have you guys been able to double, triple the amount of revenue that the store is making from when you bought it? Have things been steadily going up and to the right? Maybe we haven't doubled anything yet, but it's getting close. I mean, bring it full circle. I mean, how have you guys done?
So at the beginning, when we looked at their books and some of their tax returns and things, just to kind of see, how this was, I had a friend of mine who was good with those kind of accounting things, and he said they're doing this. He's like, this doesn't like, he just couldn't wrap his arms around what they were doing, and just said they're probably getting out of this because they're not running the shop properly and paying taxes properly, and they're not doing it right. And that's probably why they're jumping. And so then we got in and doing it pretty much the way I think is right. And this year, like, we're due about $500,000.
Wow,
in
that's
total
incredible,
sales.
guys.
Yeah.
That is absolutely incredible.
So for the 50,000 investment, we're doing 50 grand a month in dogs. Like, I mean, that's gross, but
Yeah. No, but
know,
still, I mean, that's amazing, guys. And honestly, that is remarkable to see how far you guys have come and what you built this into, just a short 5 years ago. And I know it's felt like, probably 20 to you guys seeing kind of the ins and outs of things, but
yeah.
seriously, from an outsider, I mean, that is remarkable. And you guys should be really, really impressed and proud of what you guys have done, and what you guys have built. Before we wrap up, I want to leave everyone with one thing. Lisa, you're kind of our
Yeah.
resident groomer here on the call. What is
Mhm.
one grooming tool that you could not run the shop without, or you could not yourself live without? Is there something that you're like, Alex, I need this thing in my hands every day?
Oh, what is it? The blue brush.
Your doodle brush and your
Doodle brush.
this 5-speed.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
Yeah, my doodle brush that I get. Yeah, it's my
And
doodle brush that I have, and my
like the inch plus, steel pin brushes.
pins
Those are,
and
where's that one from?
where do we get them? We get them from Groomers Mart.
Groomers
Okay.
Mart,
Okay.
and
I buy them 20 at a time.
Yeah.
Like,
So we really can't live without them. We're buying 20 every order.
right. So some of our customers like to purchase them off of us because they
Yeah.
like we tell them your dog's gonna be mad, and every time if you don't brush it, here's a brush.
Yeah.
Take it home with you.
Okay.
and
Yeah,
use
it has a blue
The
handle.
blue
on it.
handled one, those are great.
And I
Okay.
have this little hooker thing that I really like.
The serrated
Serrated
serrated,
little hooker.
like,
It's like this
comb.
big. I like.
Okay.
the
So
D-matter.
Groomers Mart is the place, a D-matter,
Yeah.
the serrated hooker, and
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
I think you said 1.5 inch doodle brush there. That
Yeah.
were Groomers Mart. Cool. No, we love those guys. You guys are awesome. We love you guys. Thank you so much for telling your story. I really hope that this inspires people out there that are looking to, either go out and search and buy a grooming salon, or maybe pull the trigger on one that kind of comes across their way. If people want to, reach out to you guys, or learn more about you guys' shop and what you guys are doing, can people do that? And if so, where can people do that at?
Yeah.
Can they go to your
So
website, or?
our website is Shag Swag Groom. The name of our company is Shag and Swag, which the shag for the dogs, the swag for the boutique part of it. But Shag Swag Groom is our website, and feel free to reach out to us. I'd love to, field any questions. And our email is shagandswag@gmail.com. So, feel free to reach out if anyone has questions.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we got lucky with, a running salon, and people come to us asking about advertising. They're like, do you want to put your name in our golf pamphlets or on the, the baseball diamond field, and I said, no, we're full. Like, I have a hard enough time taking care of our own customers that if I had 20 more people call me every week, I don't know if I could service them. And, now I run 8 groomers, and everyone's pretty much full every day. So it's,
I mean, that's amazing, guys. Like I
no
said,
need to advertise. Yeah.
you guys have tons to be proud of, and I am super stoked to hear you guys' story. I mean, it is really, really impressive. And again, I'm super honored just to meet you guys. So thank you guys so, so much for taking the time from your guys' busy day to come on here and tell your stories.
Thank you.
I'll let you know if anyone reaches out to us. Anyone in the audience, if you can't get a hold or don't want to get a hold of Doug and Lisa directly, and you want me to connect you guys can always reach out to us at stories@thedailygroomer.com. Doug and Lisa, thank you guys so much. You guys are rock stars. And that's the pod.
All right.
Thank you.